Welcome to the podcast of MotorWeek, television's original automotive magazine. MotorWeek is made possible by TireRack.com, RockAuto.com, and by Die Hard. Here's your MotorWeek podcast host, John Davis.
I am John Davis, and welcome to MotorWeek podcast number 124. And thanks for joining us. Around our table up in Sound Studio A today is road test producer Ben Davis.
Hello.
No relation, fortunately for you. Our assistant producer Greg Carlos.
Hey, hey.
And our writer Patrick Lucas.
I'm all hopped up on this coffee.
And we're and he's also the producer of the podcast, so he's been working early this morning.
Patrick, you're funny.
Thanks, guys.
We have a lightning round. We got a viewer question. We even got a little rant and rave. But let's start off. This is the first podcast for the beginning of MotorWeek's 35th season on television. And as we pat each other, all of us on our backs, and look at the gray hair and lack of hair that a couple
makes
of
me
us
feel
at the table.
old. Thanks for pointing that out, John.
No. We're still 35 years young, right? Okay, we're going to be starting off with just a kind of a general question to go around the table. Okay, season 35. This is a milestone for any publication, TV show, you name it. What are you looking forward to on season 35? What do you think we're going to cover this year that excites us, and we hope it will also excite everybody that watches and listens?
Cars.
There are a lot of awesome cars coming.
We got NSX, should be finally an NSX that we can actually drive, which will be cool. Couple of hot hatches I know Ben's pretty excited about.
Focus RS for sure.
I can't wait to the new Audi R8, since that continues to be my favorite exotic.
What about the Ford GT, if we actually see it this year?
Oh, I think we will.
Not only cars, though. I mean, we're going to be advanced in social media much more, too. We're messing around with Periscope, so if you sign up to our Periscope account, we'll be opening that up a lot and showing you behind the scenes as it happens. And our online presence is getting stronger and stronger with retro reviews and some exclusive segments for online coming up soon. So there's just vast more universes of stuff coming your way for 35.
If you've got a device and you pick a platform, we intend to be there.
Oh yeah, we get to see some vintage John Davis and Pat Goss this season.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of shots of when I had hair. So once you get beyond that, it is fun though to look back at and very what's the word, disarming to look back at some of the stuff that we really liked 30 years ago.
That's how we spend most of our minimal free time at this point now, is Ben and I or whoever's back there on the computer just watching old road tests. Man, it's awesome.
On minimal,
yeah. Well, it's the way the business works. Is something is hot and you love it for the moment.
You're knocking yourself, but a lot of those retro reviews are pretty dead on, and you go online and people still comment like,
"It's funny."
Like MotorWeek was right on with this one and stuff like that. So
I have to tell you and pay homage to Rick Winter, who Rick is retired and living up in Maine, but Rick was our original head writer. And Rick was very, very good at taking the early drafts of the road test, mostly which I wrote at that time, and honing them down and getting down to the essentials and pushing us to sometimes be a little more in your face about some of the things we saw than we might have been otherwise. So Rick, you're out there, I know, good guy, and we still follow a lot of his habits. So fun, lots to look forward to season 35, and on our first show on season 3501, a car that we'll be testing that we've already had a chance to drive, obviously, is the 2015 Mercedes-AMG GT S, the replacement for the SLS, the first car to wear the Mercedes-AMG badge. A car that was fairly controversial when it first came in. So what was the outcome?
A spicy little number indeed. I for one, am a big fan. I prefer the standard opening doors to the gull wings of the SLS.
You prefer the gull wings? I thought you said you liked the gull wings.
I think we all like the gull wings.
You're changing your story, Ben. You're telling me you like the gull wings.
No.
The only reason is because now I can get in it with a helmet on. There's a lot more headroom.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why they ditched the gull wings doors, but I mean, I'm maybe did you hear?
Is it because it's not an SLS anymore? Because I assume. See, this is a little, and I thought it was a great car. I really enjoyed driving. It is a great car to drive in pretty much any situation. Yeah. So let me say that first. But I was a little bit put off the fact that they didn't continue calling it an SLS. But yet it still looks like an SLS. Like they didn't go far enough to really differentiate it from SLS.
It looks more like a Porsche.
So maybe that was one of their ways to further differentiate it from the SLS. Like get rid of the gull wings. That way people won't have any confusion that this is an AMG GT S.
I think buyers in that price range want those big glass sunroof moonroofs, and they couldn't do that. Couldn't do that with the gull wing doors.
You were saying it's a great car to drive, and it is, but not at first drive. It feels the enormously long hood. Hood. Yeah. Kind of, for me, it took me a while to be comfortable with the vehicle placement on the road and stuff, a good week of driving it, which may, I don't know, it may affect some people at the dealership.
Test drive.
Yeah, but just you'll get used to it eventually, and but it is a little
intimidating. I think is a good word for it,
because the R8 is similar money, and we were all saying when it first came in that we'd rather have an R8 just because it's a lot easier to drive, basically, but you'll get used to it.
I do think you're right, though. I think it's a car that the more you drive the GTS, the more you fall in love with it.
When you start using that long nose to your advantage, and especially on the track, you can point yourself with incredible accuracy, which is really cool. So I felt the same way.
Yeah, it gets smaller.
And then there's other minor problems like the ergonomics inside of it. The shifter's just in a really odd position. If you want to do anything through the command system, it's just everything's just kind of oddly placed. And maybe it was just me, but
I think the ergonomics are not as. Well, maybe they had to make compromises in the ergonomics based on some other engineering things, but I think there are a little off.
Jeez, what is this? The rant and rave section?
Yeah, except that we love we love the car, we love driving it.
Oh, I know.
But as their first effort, maybe there's a little improvement.
I think it's a car to be seen in more than maybe a car to drive.
Most people that buy it probably won't drive it as hard as we did.
I drove it for half a day, and I was driving through a parking lot, and several people being like, "That car sounds amazing. What is that?" Or like, "Sweet car." And I'm like,
is that an SLS?
Yeah, exactly.
But
mission accomplished.
But it doesn't reward you right away like a Porsche would or something like that.
Yeah, and I think, and I still question why they made it look so much like a 928 in the back. But
it's kind of cool. I like that.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, it definitely does look like a 928 in the back, and it kind of looks like a 944 through the rear. What is it? The rear three-quarter of the vehicle, when you look at it from a profile, kind of looks like another Porsche. But definitely not Porsche up front.
No, it's like they took a Porsche, like half of the car, and then threw a really long nose on it.
It's pretty obvious who they're after.
Yeah, exactly. Make no mistake about it.
All right, AMG GT S. We liked it with reservations, but one heck of a car. And
good first road test.
Good first road test for season 35. Ooh. Another car that we're testing on the first show is the 2016 Nissan Maxima. And just to set the stage on this, it's still basically a big front-wheel drive sedan, and it's still got a CVT. I haven't bought the four-door sports car routine in years. Having said that, and I was there for the unveiling of it, and I wasn't that shocked or enamored when I saw it. But the car we had here in that striking blue paint, I thought it was probably the most dynamic-looking four-door sedan I've ever seen.
I came away extremely impressed after driving it just for an afternoon. It was extremely well done, I think. Interior is just a huge jump over previous Nissans.
Absolutely.
And ours obviously was the top of the line, so you would have to pay a little bit.
But it wasn't? Wasn't there a trim level above what they're having?
I don't know. Then they fooled me because it felt great. I mean, the seats were super comfortable. The blue stitching with the the gray accents in the seats.
A lot of tech. I was mostly impressed, but unfortunately, the car's got a tremendous amount of torque steer.
Mm-hmm. Well,
in sport,
it is a lot of horsepower going on the front.
And man, that might have been it for me. But But yeah, I'm hoping they get that nailed down, maybe an all-wheel drive version or something like that. But an incredibly impressive car for sure.
I guess I've gotten used to the CVT because I own one.
Oh, that was the thing
They
I was going to
really-
brag about.
Yeah.
What, you do or you don't like the CVT?
In casual driving, it's fine. I don't really notice it, but when you're getting spirited with it, it really shows its weaknesses.
Really, I thought they really ironed out the negative parts of their CVT and most other CVTs, because like when you do hammer, when you really step on it, it kind of feels that like actual drop shift as opposed to just going winding
From
kind of
first
back
to
down.
second.
Okay.
Yeah,
On the
pseudo
track.
gears it has in
Yeah,
there.
from first to second it does, but from there on out it's flat CVT. And
Okay.
I don't know, for a four-door sports car, I was hoping for a dual clutch system or something with some aggressiveness behind it. But I mean, I guess there's still room for a Nismo version, maybe. Which would that sell? I'd buy one.
At least an all-wheel drive version. I don't understand why they
Yeah.
aren't cranking that out.
Now, I thought the styling, which sort of follows along from the Murano crossover, it's what got me. When just sitting there, the car looked like something out of a futuristic movie. Mm-hmm. It's got an extremely high belt line, which usually I don't like because it squishes the side windows. But I got in it and felt very comfortable. I just love looking at the car.
It's aggressive.
It makes
Elegant.
Acuras look like old
it
people
makes
cars.
it makes you talk about a four-door
Like Lincoln
sedan
Continentals.
looking
Five-year-old
like an
Optimus
appliance, and this is like one sedan that if I was a designer, I'd be looking at and saying this makes every other four-door sedan look like an appliance.
Yeah, we had the Murano and the Maxima here at the same time. And those two next to each other, like Nissan is on point.
They really
Getting
know
ready,
what they're doing. Yeah. Okay, moving on. It's now time to go to our lightning round where we've all got 2 minutes to debate a trending automotive topic. Okay, we've done this to death, but it's worth doing again. Gas prices. First they're up, then they're down. All right, right now they've been fairly low for the whole summer and actually back to the spring. There's some talk that maybe by this winter we're actually going to be near $2 again. I just came back from going down south and it was $2.19 in many places. What effects are we seeing this on sales, which I think we can talk about now, and what do we think it's going to affect sales of different types of vehicle in the next few years? I mean, the obvious thing right now is hybrids and electric car sales are way down, and trucks and SUVs are way up.
Yep.
That's right now. But going forward, what do you think?
I think we've seen what it does, and I can't say that it's not going to continue. I think people are still going to see these low prices and go right back to buying the big SUVs and kind of forgetting about the hybrids and the electrics. And that's kind of a shame because hybrids and electrics were starting to kind of catch some steam there for the last couple of months, I think. And I'm not so...
But they can't go too far back because the government fuel economy standards continue to ratchet up. Mm-hmm. And depending on who gets the White House next time, there's no indication that that's going to back off, at least not in the near term. So they've got to keep moving forward, at least with hybrids. And I mean, we've seen that. But I'm bothered by the fact that certain things like Chevy Cruze diesel, which was a pretty cool car, that's not going to happen in the U.S. now.
I was all excited for that one.
And so I am a little concerned that some of the stuff that would have been interesting is going to get delayed or canceled. So,
correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I also read that they're starting to roll back or scale back these incentives on hybrids too.
well, a lot of them are expiring. And
Yeah.
I believe next year, 2016, there's more that expires unless they get renewed, which I think is probably unlikely by Congress. That's going to kill a lot
Which
of that
is
too.
not a good thing.
Yeah. So I think we have a little bit of short-sightedness going on. It's like, but that was what it has to just drive the auto companies crazy because, they're looking 5 to 7 years out, and it's impossible to predict. But all right, I think we've done it again. Anyway, low gas prices mean that something that gets 18 miles per gallon is getting back in fat again. Not a good thing overall in the long term. All right, let's talk about a viewer question. Steve is asking, almost every 2016 model will offer many of the same safety features like collision warning, automatic braking, lane departure control, blind spot. monitoring, cruise control, rear view camera, night vision, etc. How does a consumer evaluate these? Which one is better or worth or not? Which one's worth the cost? Please consider doing a show on looking at this in the future where we compare them. We will do that, Steve. But okay, given the technology that we're seeing on the cars today, and granted, most of the cars we get have all of the features and a price to match. But if you were going out and buying something for yourself right now and you kept your family in mind, what of these new features would you say I've got to have?
We just talked about this yesterday.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, great.
So there's a few things. I would have a backup camera, which should be standard on all cars in the coming future, soon, very soon.
All right, let's stop you right there. What feature on that backup camera would you want? I mean, you want the lane markings, you want them to turn?
I need the lane markings. I don't necessarily need them to turn. It's kind of nice when they do turn.
Mm-hmm.
But I think those markings are necessary to, especially when you're parking, to line yourself up properly and ultimately save time while you're using your backup camera.
Go ahead.
And while we're talking about the backup camera, something I just realized that I really like is rear cross traffic alert. I never really considered it, but for whatever reason, I guess maybe just more people on the road and in parking lots, the last couple of times I've been backing out of a spot, cross traffic has alerted me well before the person or car
before you could see
has
them.
come through my path. It works every time, and it's really an awesome tool. So and people who go to the stores a lot or in busy parking lots, you'll really enjoy it if you kind of buck up and go and get that extra option.
I'm a big fan of blind spot monitoring.
Oh, yeah.
With the caveat that it works correctly, because we have, or I'll name it, the Kia, the K900 and the Sorento. They both get really like wonky. Like I'll be making a right turn in the rightmost lane, and it'll tell me I have someone in my.
It's too sensitive.
And it'll tell me I have someone in my right blind spot, which is impossible. So
Right.
I don't know what it's detecting, what it's sensing.
I
but
noticed that too. I just
For
got
the
back
most
from the
part,
trip.
for the most part, blind spot monitoring is really great on the highway.
Ben?
I like 360-degree cameras. I mean, I've had rear-view cameras enough
true.
that now I've moved on. Now I need a 360-degree camera. But just driving this XC90, it has an amazing early warning system where it mitigates with braking. I think I need that too.
Nobody's mentioned automatic braking. What do you think about that? Or something to forward collision warning or something?
You guys tested, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we tested, and it's...
I don't think it's quite there on all the vehicles yet. I mean, we've had some times where we've hit
Sometimes
that
it works and
barrier.
sometimes it
It's
doesn't.
true. It's true. There are impressive systems out there that work well, but I don't feel that it's something that I need.
The part of when you get automatic braking, which I do like, you always get radar-based cruise control too, which I hate. I mean, because you'll be on cruise control, and okay, it does its job of slowing down when you get close to something in front. But I'd almost prefer to have a little light or something that comes on and says I'm getting too close, instead of just slowing me
Some
down.
of them can
and
be
then
pretty
you pull
aggressive.
out. Yeah, some of them can be very aggressive, and some you can set the distance from the steering wheel. Some you can't. I'm just not sold that everybody's going to like that feature, and I find it annoying. But
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not safe. I just find it annoying.
Well, speaking of annoying, the one that you probably don't need is lane keeping assist, specifically active lane keeping assist. I turn that off every single car I get into that has it. The Edge that we have in, I'm not even. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a terrible driver, but it's yanking.
You wander a lot from lane to lane, right?
It is yanking the wheel back and forth and just way too sensitive, and I just don't like. So I turn it off, and you know what? I managed to get to where I'm going every single time without
unless
having
you're
any
driving. Unless you're driving with both hands off the wheel for more than 10 or 15 seconds, which you should never do, but it's totally worthless because it's kind of dangerous even because you kind of trying to drift over a little bit and it'll jerk you back and you're like, and then you have to overpower it again and say, no, I'm actually going over here.
I think there's a limit to how much control you should take away from the driver. You're getting to the point where you're giving the drivers an excuse to not be paying any attention to what they're doing whatsoever.
If you live in the city and parallel park a lot, another technology is the park assists. A couple of the systems work pretty well.
Chrysler systems work well.
Ford does too. That's a technology that if you need it,
Talk
It's
about
definitely a
the
must-have.
drive out system on the Edge.
Yeah, park out is something new as well. This will get you out of the parallel parking spot as well, and it works just as easily as the system that puts you in there in the first place.
Yeah, Ford's done a lot more work in Europe on these systems than they have in here. They've got a system that they've shown in Europe where you stand outside the car with your cell phone, and because their parking spaces are so narrow, you can't usually get the doors open when you park. You get out, the car pulls itself in, the car pulls itself out. It's kind of cool stuff.
It's kind of scary.
Okay, Steve, it is kind of scary. Steve, I hope that answered your question. I think next time we should start talking about hacking into cars a little bit.
Yeah.
Since that seems to
Scary.
be the topic. All right, rant and rave.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody got something on their mind? That was sort of we just did.
Getting out of my seat.
All right,
Oh, boy.
Greg's ready, primed and shoot.
Ready
All
to
right.
tranquilizer. Go.
All right. So before I start this, let me say, I think that bicyclists should be allowed to ride on the road. I'm not in any way trying to take your liberties away from you, but there's a select few that completely disregard the rules of the road, and they only obey them when it's convenient for them. The last 2 days, this is 2 days in a row, I've come to a stop sign, a four-way stop. I've stopped. There's a bicyclist coming up the other way, and I'm getting ready to go. He blows through the four-way intersection, and I mean that's just not just being a jerk. That's a safety issue.
Of course it is.
If I'm not paying attention, you're dead. Like I hit you, you're probably dead. So and most bicyclists, I'm sure, are very courteous on the road. So I don't want to say all bicyclists are bad, but if you are going to bike on the road, you really should pay attention to the rules. And
I think it goes beyond stop signs.
Yeah.
It's like they'll be on the edge. They come without even looking. They come back into the center of the lane. The whole idea seems to be, hey, I'm a bicyclist, and you've got to stop for me without any regard for your own safety, because if you get just even nudged by a car, you're probably a goner. And it seems to be something that you see more of a problem now than you used to.
Yeah, it's like we're supposed to share the road with them, but they're not supposed to share it with us.
To add to that, I have a quick story. Bikers that ride against the traffic.
Yeah.
I was leaving to come to work a few weeks ago, and at the end of my road is a major travel area, Route 30. Mm-hmm. I look left, and then I I take a right to enter 30. I'm fully straight in my lane, and there's a biker coming right at me, and he's like, whoa, narrowly doing some maneuvers to get around me. I don't look right that much if I'm traveling right. I give a quick glance, maybe. Sometimes I hate to admit, maybe I don't look right at all. I just look left.
You know, that must be a throwback to when I was growing up, and people basically rode their bikes around their neighborhoods. They really weren't out on the highway. You were supposed to ride against traffic with the idea that you could be seen, but I think that's certainly gone out the window.
Yeah.
Now people are riding bikes on interstates practically. Yeah, so if you're a biker out there, you can always let us know your thoughts on this. I'm sure you're ranting and raving against some of the drivers, but
don't wear all black too.
You know,
Please, bright colors,
bright
please.
colors,
Yeah.
please.
Can I throw another rant and rave in?
You know, and with all the distraction that's going on inside of a car, with all the electronic features, this is going to actually be a problem that's getting worse. What
I think we have time for one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Patrick.
Okay. Automatic headlights. Why do some people turn them off? There's an auto setting. They automatically turn off. Some people get out of cars and turn it off.
Are you saying
Why?
within the office?
Well, within the office, but
Here we go. This is a whole
within
other
life.
level.
Just within life.
The only time that I ever turn them off is sometimes when I'm coming towards a toll booth or something like that to turn down.
Well,
the
no, I'm
lights.
saying like when you get out of the car to leave the car.
Yeah, you should just leave it on auto. That's what
Right.
they're
I
there
get in
for.
the car and sometimes it's in the off position.
Oh, no.
The headlights are going to turn
Is that
off
a force
automatically.
of habit?
It could be. That's what I was thinking, but
It could also be if this was within the office. Sometimes I turn them off when we're doing like exteriors on the car when we're going through the headlight thing. That could be a reason why you're getting in the car all pissed off.
Right, so maybe don't do that anymore.
Drive-by consistency too.
Or it could just be habit. I mean, all of my cars before I started driving cars here never had auto headlights, so I just turn them off when it's raining or it's kind of dark out.
My problem now is when I get in a car that doesn't have auto headlights, I forget to turn them on.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
that could be a problem.
Yeah. All right, that was a good one. And that's the end of a very good podcast, 124 for all of us at MotorWeek. I want to thank our audio engineer for today is David Wainwright. And for those of you that don't know, when you're listening to MotorWeek, and if you like what you hear as far as the voiceovers and the mixing and all of that, it's all David. And that way, David, they don't like it, they know who to go directly to. Our podcast creator, Bob Mixter, we love David. Our podcast producer, Patrick Lucas. And thank you very much for watching and listening MotorWeek on all sorts of different platforms. Be sure to watch MotorWeek every week for new episodes on your local public television stations. You can find out time and dates at motorweek.org or catch us on the Velocity channel. We debut a new show every Tuesday. That's it. I'm John Davis for all of us at MotorWeek. Thanks for watching and listening to MotorWeek.
Keep your auto headlights on.
You have been listening to the podcast of MotorWeek, television's original automotive magazine. MotorWeek is made possible by TireRack.com, RockAuto.com, and by Die Hard. For additional information on podcasts, videos, and showtimes, visit our website at motorweek.org. And watch MotorWeek, television's longest-running automotive magazine series each week on your local PBS station.